time really doesn't exist, because everywhere we go, we're traveling all over the world constantly, and everywhere we go, it's either tomorrow or yesterday or the morning or the evening. You can't keep up with time anyway. And that's what we've been told many times, that time is an illusion. The ETs have said man is probably the only species in the universe who has found a way to measure something that does not exist. So leave it to us to do something like that. But anyway, things are moving so fast. Your psychic abilities are returning. The veil is thinning. And as the veil thins, people are discovering more and more of their own abilities. This is what's coming out. To me, I think it's a very remarkable time to be alive as we watch all of the changes that are happening now in the way people are thinking, how they're accepting these things. It comes very easy to the younger generation. Look at what we're doing now. We're talking where we used to be, you couldn't do this. When I was younger, they kept saying, oh, one day we're going to have a telephone where you can see the person you're talking to. And it seemed like, oh yeah, that's very way off. I don't think it'll ever happen. But now look what we're doing. The technology has advanced so much, so the people's thinking is advancing. We're moving at a very rapid pace. My work has evolved also. I had to devise my own method of hypnosis because when I started out, there was nothing like this. I devised my own technique that I've now been teaching all over the world for the last 20 years. We're reaching people everywhere because the method that I devised has to do with speaking with the greatest power in the universe. This power knows the answers to everything, and it can also do healing instantaneously. And that's what I'm teaching. I'm focusing more on the healing than anything else, because we're able to have instant healing just that quickly. And we're training doctors, we're training people all over the world. We travel all the countries of the world, and this is being accepted now. It used to be thought of as the medicine of the future. Now they're saying this is the medicine of now, because we're teaching people how to use their own minds to heal their bodies. So to me, that's a very important thing that I've been on. And all through my career, in all the 18 books, all of the information I have written about did not come from me. I'm not a channeler, I'm not a psychic, I'm the reporter, the investigator, the researcher of lost knowledge. All the information that I write about in my books comes from all the people that I have regressed and had sessions with, and the information has come out. And it's amazing. The Convoluted Universe are the latest series. I have 4 books in that series now, and I'm working on a 5th one. Those are the ones I say are for people who want their minds bent like pretzels, because they're mind-bending information. It's concepts and theories that I'd never heard of before. But the ones that I work with, said it's time for the world to know these things. So all the information began coming out as I did the sessions. And as a reporter, I had to put it all together, like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. Sometimes I would get a theory at a session in one part of the world, and then a week later, I'd be in another part of the world, and it would expand on the same information I just got so that I could understand it more, be able to flesh it out. This happens in all of my work. They are always giving me what I need to know. I began about 10, 15 years ago. See, I see thousands and thousands and thousands of people. 10, 15 years ago, I began to get these people coming who were all telling me the same story. Now, it used to be, it was all past life regressions, going back into the past on Earth and reliving past lives. And they can get a lot of information that way by reliving their past lives and finding out how it relates to their life today. I began to get a different kind of information. Hundreds of people were coming to me with the same story, and it was branching away from the normal past life regressions. They were all saying the same thing. They don't want to be here. They don't like it here. They don't like the violence. They don't like the people, what people do to each other. They all said the same thing. I want to go home. I don't know where home is, but I know it's not here. And I kept hearing this over and over again. Many of these people had even got to the point they wanted to commit suicide to get out because they didn't like it here at all. But of course, suicide is not the answer. In my work, I found that because if you commit suicide, you have to come back and do it all over again with the same people, same circumstances, and it's even harder than it was before. So the suicide is not the way to get out. You know, like any scientific experiment, if they repeat it again and again and again, they accept it as valid if they hit the same results each time. So when I began to get the same story through all these different people, none of them knowing what the other ones had said, I didn't know what the other ones had said because it was new to me. But yet they were all saying the same thing. I started paying attention. There's something going on here that we better look at. Now I get hundreds and hundreds of emails from people all over the world who are going through the same situation. They're all saying the same thing. I don't want to be here. I don't like it here. I don't like the violence. I want out. They're all telling me, well, I feel like I'm the only one in the world that feels like this. But they said, after I read your book, The 3 Waves of Volunteers, and began to hear you talk, I see that I'm not alone. And that means so much to people to realize they aren't the oddball out there. They aren't the only one in the world that has these feelings. We've now found there's hundreds of thousands of these all over the world. And this is the 3 waves that have come to change the earth and to save the earth. And that's what came through in the talks, the sessions that I gave. So that's what I'm going to focus on tonight. Well, the 3 waves of volunteers, when I did so many of them, I began to classify them according to their ages, when they were born. And I began to see that they fall into 3 distinct groups that had all saying the same thing. I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to go into the ETs and the UFOs, their involvement in this, but they are very much involved because they have been involved with us since the beginning of the world. You read my other books, Keepers of the Garden and The Custodians, you will see how they have always been there, taking care of us and watching us. That's why a lot of times they're called the Watchers and the Keepers. They're never harm anyone because they're forbidden to ever harm a human being, but they've been watching us since the beginning. When the earth was created, it had one main directive, and this is the Star Trek directive, because Star Trek is not fiction, it is real. They had a Star Trek directive was the law of non-interference. Once a civilization has begun, you cannot interfere with the development of that civilization. You have to just let it go along the way it is and hope that they're learning something from it and are not going to make the same mistakes over and over and over throughout history. Their job is to watch us, to see what's happening, how things are going. Everything was not really going that well, but we got to the point of nothing they could do about it. They just sit back and watch and say, what are these kids doing now? We were going along until the Second World War. And at the end of the Second World War, when we dropped the atomic bomb, that's when they said, we better get down there and see what these kids are playing with, because they don't know how to handle this kind of power. They can blow up the world. They don't know what they're messing with. See, up until this time, and even to the years later, the people of the world have been caught on the karmic wheel, which means they've been caught in past lives going round and round and around in the same lives over and over again, making the same mistakes lifetime after lifetime, and that's where the karma comes in. They're making all these mistakes and having to come back again and again to repay the karma. Most of the people on earth have been trapped on the karmic wheel. They didn't know how to get off the wheel. This was the main reason that Jesus came to the earth, was to show people how to live, how to get off of the karmic wheel, how to go higher, to go further. And of course, it all deals with love. The people of his time didn't understand that, and they killed him. That's what it's always been about, to evolve, to get higher.